So cool. Well, thanks everyone for joining on another ForgeX ABM workshop session. And today I'm psyched because we're going to be talking about something that I don't think is utilized enough in a lot of ABM programs, and that is person-based ads. And more specifically, diving in to Influ2's actual playbook that helped them double their meeting rates. So the format for today, first, Anna is going to walk us through the Influ2 playbook. Then we're going to have a bit of a panel discussion. So we also have Kevin on here as well, and both of them will give an intro in a minute. But we'll be chatting a bit about the playbook, ad best practices, and at the end, we'll have some dedicated time to answer all of your questions. But again, the format for these events, super relaxed. Toss your questions in the chat as we go, and we'll get to them as we continue the flow. But super excited to have both Kevin and Anna on. I'm going to pass it over to you both for a quick introduction. And Anna, maybe we start with you.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Anna Tsymbalist, and I am the head of ABM at Influ2. I'm focused on our ABM and outbound motions, and yeah, I'm behind all of the Influ2 ads that you see online, basically.
Cool. I'm Kevin. I lead ABM for Yotpo here in North America. So really responsible for what we would all call enterprise ABM here in North America, going up market and working mostly with the Shopify ecosystem.
Awesome. Well, we're psyched to have both of you on today. And Anna, I'm going to pass it your way to give us the secrets behind your playbook.
Okay, cool. I am going to share my screen. All right, I can see it. Let me do the slideshow for you. All right. So first of all, Davis, thank you so much for having me. And I'm also super grateful that you run such an amazing community for marketers where we get to share our successes, ideas, and well, sometimes failures. So today I'm super excited to tell you more about the playbook that helped us double meeting attendance by using person-based advertising. But before I dive into the playbook itself, I just want to explain why we even care about our show up rates. Because the answer is pretty simple. At Influ2, marketing and sales are measured by the same metrics, basically. So I really care about revenue, I care about pipeline, and I mostly care about SALs because that's what I'm measured on. And when you're measured on SALs, the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you generate the most suitable calls, right? You bring the right accounts, you bring the right people that are going to become SALs. And the first thing we did, we aligned with our sales department, and all of the outbound initiatives that I do, they are directed specifically at the accounts that we want to convert and at the people that we want to convert in those accounts. So for me, when a person, it's a perfect person and the person doesn't show up to the call, it's a huge loss and I'm really disappointed, So, why do prospects miss calls? Why do they not come? Because they've already shown this level of interest. They've already shown that, they've probably done some research. They probably know the initiative that they are going to use us for. And usually it's being overwhelmed at work. We researched. I also looked at my own behavior, some of my colleagues, and trust me, when your email is overflowing with emails from your boss saying that, this is not working, you have to fix this immediately, a kind reminder is not something that is going to, be in the center of your attention. Sometimes you're out of office sick or people forget to accept the invites and they don't get the reminder. So even though our SDRs do a very good job of following up and sending the reminders, it's just, it was not enough for us. And we thought, so what could be a different channel to reach them? And we thought, why not target them? So what we did is we decided to target all of the future attendees with a personalized ad campaign. So that would allow us to bridge this gap. Well, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to bridge this gap between the call being booked and the call actually taking place with content that would give additional value to them. We wanted to stay top of mind. So this is exactly what the ad does. It just follows them around on Instagram, on Facebook, on when they're Googling something, when they're on Amazon or on LinkedIn. And so that was the play. That was something that we wanted to do. And the next question was, what do we even show them? Like, what do they care? What do they even care about at this point? So what we decided to do is we wanted to put a face to the name. We wanted to start building this relationship between the AE and the prospect before the call even took place. So as you can see, whenever, I think that's how it works for everyone, whenever an opportunity is created, it gets a dedicated AE who's going to run this opportunity to the end. So this is how we decided to group our prospects, and that allowed us to group them into target lists and show them ads with the AE's face. And the ad is pretty simple. It's just a friendly thing. It's like they're saying, hey, I'm looking forward to the call. Thank you so much for finding the time to talk to me. And here is more information on Influ2 if you want to learn about it. So what we assume this would do for us is going to create this connection and give them a direct line to talk to the person. And also they would then recognize the AE on the call, and that's given like a small wow effect, I think. And the way we approach landing pages was we took the personalization one step further. But it might seem complicated to you right now, but trust me, it was easy. I just created one landing page and then I multiplied it. And then I simply changed the picture of the AE in the hero section, making it a personalized landing page. And what we put here is we give them this direct link to AE's calendar if they want to have an additional call, if they want to reschedule. We put some of our customer logos, some product information. We then gave them some of our case studies that we thought are going to be the best for them, added some social proof with G2 badges, and topped it off with a CTA that encourages them to contact us. And another thing that's good about this campaign is that if the time frame between the booking of the call and then the call taking place is really big, you get this opportunity whenever the person engages with the ad, it gives this intent signal to the AE that the person is researching, and they can reach out and be like, hey, I'm here if you need something. I can be helpful to you right now. So, all right, we were done with the content. This is what we want to show them. And now we are moving on to the best part of this whole playbook, to the part that means I'm not doing manual work. So our beautiful operations team came up with this simple automation. So as you can see, I have this campaign up and running at all times. It's just in the product. I've added the content there, the landing page is there, the ad is there, so it's running. And whether the prospects are dropping in or out is completely determined by the automation in our CRM. And we use Salesforce. So whenever we have an opportunity created, our SDRs are trained to assign contact roles to every person who is coming to the call. And then Salesforce uses two data points. The first one is the contact role, and the second one is the account ownership, which is now the account is in the AE's hands. So they use those two data points to divide call attendees into dynamic target lists that correspond with the right campaign according to the ownership. And that's how the targets drop in. And we've also set up automation to drop them out, because you really don't want to be showing this ad all the time because it's really time sensitive. So whenever the call takes place and gone, we have a signal sent back to the CRM that drops them out from the list. And if the call never takes place, the opportunity is then closed lost, unfortunately, and they are also dropped out of the campaign. By the way, we also have a show up rate campaign that they are then moved, but maybe I'll talk about it next time. So this is the flow. It took a couple of days to set up, considering a lot of other things on my plate. And I was really psyched. I was excited. We were thinking, okay, how are they going to react? And they indeed react. Prospects engaged with the creative before the call, and they would then mention it to the AE on the call. And those were the only signals in the beginning that this is working. So we were thinking, okay, why not keep it? And also it was an easy decision because it was running by itself, basically. And after some time, we finally had enough data to measure it in numbers. So what we ended up with was a 188 targets in the control group that had no impressions. So basically they had no idea this existed. They just had a regular experience of no ads before the call. And we then compared them to the group that only had impressions. It means that they only seen the ad and they did not engage with it in any ways. And that group had a boost of almost 15%. But when we compared the control group to those who clicked on the ad and who visited the landing page, who engaged with it, they were twice as likely to come to the meeting. And that was, we were very happy to see the result, honestly. And that's pretty much it on the playbook for me. And I can add that this is a very low maintenance project. And the only thing that I do now is I regularly go and just look at the landing page to see if there is something that I want to update, like, a new case study, new G2 badges, maybe product updates or something like that. And I also have a Salesforce report where I track that my targets are dropping in and out accordingly, just in case, just to double check everything and sleep better at night. And yeah, that's it for me. If you have any questions, I'll be very happy to answer them during the Q&A. Cool.
This is Savannah. Yeah, I've definitely tossed your questions in the chat and we'll get to them as we go. One thing that I'd love to dive a bit deeper into is actually operationalizing this. How much time did it take from your side? What did you delegate to other teams from a cross-functional standpoint to build some of the elements? How did you actually bring this to life?
I'm really the wrong person to ask that. It was all done by our marketing operations, but that was a quick project for them because it really depends on how mature your Salesforce system is, what signals you have, how it's set up. And I'm just telling you what our ops told me. Yeah, so it really depends on how mature your system is. But yeah, that's it. That's all I know. That's all I got.
That's the secret. And we have a question from the audience, and I think that this is going to be a really interesting one, especially given you're using Influ2. The question is all about how do you deal with the minimum audience size that you need for ad campaigns?
Well, I don't have the minimum audience size because I work for Influ2. And that's something that you have with your, but what do you mean, for the contract or for the ad platform?
My guess is it is for.
I think it's for the contract. I think it's for the contract, yes, because well, this won't be the only initiative that you should be running. This shouldn't be the only project that you have with person-based advertising, because yes, that would mean that you don't have enough audience to do that. You should have a lot more going on, and there are a lot more things that you can do with person-based ads rather than just using it for the show up rate, honestly.
And these person-based ads aren't going after that segment or group. You're actually targeting the specific individuals, right?
Yeah. So we were thinking about this, well, when we were setting this up, because B2B and ABM, it's all about buying groups right now. So we were thinking, all right, should we be targeting the whole buying group that, maybe that would attract them coming to the call, maybe that would attract them, bring us to their attention. But then we thought maybe the other person doesn't know that this meeting is going to happen, and that's kind of giving out the information. So we thought that it would only be relevant to target only the people who are going to the call. And also, if the situation with the call changes, if there are more people added to the call, that is also dynamically updated in Salesforce, and the contact row is assigned by the SDR who accept this information, and they would also drop into that campaign, but only in this case.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And another question, Kevin, this might be best from your side, all around almost segmentation based campaigns leveraging the Influ2 platform, whether it's product or personas. Is that something that you could, leverage in this type of campaign or in the ABM side in general?
Yeah, we went through a lot of testing last year with Influ2, and that was our first year with the platform and starting to unlock the hyper targeted groups that we were able to get to. We, on the Yotpo side, have a handful of different products. A lot of what we're trying to do is create awareness, especially within our existing customer base. And we know that the people that are the buyers of our other solutions aren't the people that are our day-to-day contacts for the existing package that they have with Yotpo. So what we think about a lot of times is generating awareness across the entire organization of Yotpo's holistic approach for the full platform. And then from there, we will dig into a whole bunch of other subsegments and personalizing based off of their role and their persona, the way that we have it associated or signed in our CRM, which is also Salesforce, has been very, very helpful. So like we've done things on a persona level, we've done things based off of technographics, we've done things off of verticals. We really tested a bunch of things last year, and it was really kind of clear as day. Like when we were bringing brand new, net new awareness to a product they had no idea we had, we saw a good performance there. And then when we saw segmenting based off of what their existing tech stack is and also their persona, we saw like incremental improvements off based on like kind of the control test of like generic ads that we were also running to test out as well. So we definitely try to dice up and use the platform to its strengths.
Kevin, so you say you tried different ways of segmentation. So you did persona, you did technographics. What do you think works best? Did you notice any difference? Because I'm also considering maybe, dividing the audience because, show up rate is one thing, but I'm also responsible for all the top of the funnel targeting. And I'm thinking maybe we should, discover new industries and different, other things
too. What was really interesting to me is that it actually depended on zeroing it. Like when we did based off of technographics did really well. Because we kind of know we're very involved with the ecosystem. We have a lot of different products. We are seen by a lot and leveraged a lot by our customers as strategic partners. So when they make migrations, we learn about the pain points that they experience and why they made the switch over to us. So taking that information, like that feedback directly from our customers that migrated for those solutions, we then created copy and creative to then outreach via Influ2 people that had the same technology stack they used to have, like that customer, and start hitting into those pain points. So what was interesting off of that is we ran basically like 4 or 5 creatives through Influ2 based off of technographics. And what I noticed in multiple creatives that performed well, one creative performed much better for the day-to-day user, and one creative performed much better with a more decision-making and economic buyer persona. So, and the difference really actually in those creatives was, one was about price that really turned the head of the individuals that are signing the checks and need to make the final decision. And then the one that was about strategy, support, and consultation landed extremely well with the day-to-day users, because we knew both things were a problem for the vendor that they were with and the vendor that we were kind of not directly advertising against, but hitting those pain points that we knew existed within that group. So that was a very interesting test that we ran, and like good insights that we learn taking info from a call, applying it into a campaign, seeing results out of it. And that actually helped us educate on how we were going to approach things in general in the future.
I do similar things. What we do is, first of all, I go and listen to a lot of calls, intro calls, demo calls with customers, with prospects. And that's where I hear what their problems are and what words they're using and how are they talking about it, so that I can put the exact problem that everyone's mentioning on the creative, and it's gonna work perfectly. I've also, what we noticed is that we have different creatives. So we would have like a value prop creatives. We would have like really top of the funnel, funny creatives, some trust creatives, with articles, maybe playbooks, case studies, videos. And I wanted to ask, because you said that, different people, they reacted differently to different creatives. So what we've noticed, and I wonder if that's something that you looked at, is that we had a lot of stuff that had really high CTRs, but that didn't bring conversions into ops. So they wouldn't book to the call. They would go there, they would engage with the ad, they would read the landing page, that they wouldn't convert for some reason. And then we had some pieces of content that had, low CTRs. I thought there was like I was almost ready to turn it off. And then I looked at the amount of opportunities that got booked after that creative and that content. And I was like, okay, maybe low CTR is not that bad. Maybe we should really measure. And that's how we do it. That's how we measure it. Because when I have high CTR, I'm like, oh, I'm really happy, but that doesn't mean anything at the end of the day, honestly. And I always go and I try to look and see what they've engaged with and how they reacted to that. And I really measure the success of a certain creative by looking at whether they've booked after it.
Yeah, definitely have taken a look, not exactly the way I think that potentially you've been looking at it, but, and just a quick return question for you in general as well, for your ABM cohort, right? Like how many total accounts are within there? Like how many are you trying to address, and like what's your scale essentially?
So we have a certain amount of ICP accounts in our CRM, and then we segment them into bunches depending on how many SDRs we have. So an SDR would be working with like 70 accounts actively per period of engagement, that is 3 months. And we would be actively pursuing them with different messages and different sequences and approaches and ads. And so basically, this is where ABM and SDRs are working in sync. And then we send them to rest. And after some time, an SDR, they look at signals like, it depends on how many SDRs we have, basically. So one SDR has 70 accounts per month. And for 3 months, sorry. And they then track for any signals, like maybe new hire, maybe management change, maybe investment, just the regular SDR signals. And that means that we research the account again, we add new people, we update the CRM, and they try approaching them again using any previous communication that they've had with them, or, just using new sequences. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. And are they all new sale, or is it cross sell as well? Is it new sale only or cross sell as well?
So for SDR, that would be new sale, and cross sale. I'm working on that, honestly. And with cross sale, sometimes it's better not to use SDRs, and we're looking to work with customer success managers. But then getting your customer success manager to do outreach, it's kind of hard. I'm actually working on this project right now where we identify some of our champions that worked with a happy customer, happy user, and they for some reason moved to a different account. So that's what we're after, and that's exactly where your customer success manager is going to be really key, to learn about this person and to learn about their previous program. And for this case, I personally think that a one-to-one approach would be the most successful, because with SaaS, you don't really have we don't have huge pools of users. We only have like 3 users per company or something like that. And yeah, so going after that particular person and giving them this one-to-one treatment could really get you far. I'm also considering gifting.
Yes. Okay. So to answer your original question, that helps like me understand a little bit further kind of how you're bucketing and approaching. So for us, we have a set cohort of only a couple hundred accounts, and what makes it a little bit unique and complicated for us is what I alluded to before, where we are a very multi-product platform, and therefore our ABM cohort is a mix of new sale and cross sell. So we have to be dynamic in the way that we are segmenting and then also marketing. And then when we do get intent signals, how do we actually enable our teams to have that appropriate touch point, like you alluded to, where a lot of times it doesn't make sense to have I don't want to call it a random SDR, because it is a person that's assigned to the account and working with everyone, but to the account and to those people that we need to reach is a random person. So we want to make sure that we're giving the right signals to the people that can quarterback that next step. And obviously I'm sitting there in lockstep with them to monitor it and make sure that those things are being addressed. But the reason that I bring that up is when we were testing all the different things that we did last year on Influ2, and this is like educating us on how we're using the platform this year. Similarly to you, we were looking at, and I'm talking to our SDRs, I'm talking to our AEs, I'm talking to our CSMs as well, and we're seeing when the creatives and the ads are definitely resonating. The impressions are good, the click-through rates are good. We're seeing that they're engaging with the new product we want them to be learning about on our website. Like, we're seeing all of these right trends, these good things, but we aren't seeing necessarily the immediate translation into an opportunity. Now that we have like a proper full 12 months under our belts, like what we were discussing earlier in this quarter as a team is like, we just need to keep doing those correct things. And these accounts that we are approaching for our ABM cohort, these are some of the most strategic accounts that we're trying to crack open. And for lack of a better description, we just need to make sure that we're staying top of mind and that we're putting valuable information in front of them, so that when the vendor that we're trying to displace makes a mistake, or if the person is being challenged to evaluate other vendors because of pricing or reduced headcount, and now they need to be more agile individually and managing all the different tools they have isn't working, we need that kind of external critical event to happen. And then, because we've positioned ourselves properly across ads that create that awareness, engaging with them in person in events, and throwing basically the whole ABM playbook at them, that's where we're seeing like our opportunities really generate. And what you brought up as far as new like decision makers and economic buyers moving across companies, that's definitely something that we're refining our focus on this year as well, because it's, number one, a great acquisition signal for our team to be aware of. And number two, it's also a really important thing for our CS team and retention as well. So a bunch of different things that you're working on and looking at sounds very similar to us, slightly different with based on like the cohorts and the focuses, but a lot of the same tactics and you know, evaluation analysis.
What I've also done, so Influ2 is like, well, we do like things that no other vendor does, basically. So it's really hard to define like a competitor, because a lot of our customers use 6th Sense and Influ2. They use Demandbase and Influ2. So we don't really want to go like head to head with those companies, because we could really complement each other. And, you know, they lack some of the capabilities that we have, but we are not, you know, we are not giving you third-party intent, for instance. And so different accounts that we're going after, they use different terminology. And whenever I'm trying, so I've been trying to address the accounts that are really into ABM. And what shows the ABM, like the ABM indicators for us would be having an ABM manager or having an ABM position being open, or them managing, you know, marketers mentioning ABM tactics on their LinkedIn. And I also, what I've done, I created a very top of the funnel ad about ABM platforms, basically, and I targeted all of the marketers. I targeted all of them with this ad. And then I collected those who engaged with this ad, and I collected their accounts. And I'm now going to run a separate set of creatives talking about Influ2 and Influ2's role in the ABM to them, because this is, you know, the language that they use. This is the terminology that they use. And especially when you are explaining certain things, you have to fall into a category. So that's how we get them to understand what Influ2 is. And that also shows intent. You know, if you show them, you know, a listicle of 5 best Influ2, 5 best ABM platforms, and they engage with it, it means they're searching for it. It's basically, you are creating your own intent data, but with first-party signals from them.
Yeah, no, it's you and I are living parallel lives, it sounds like, because right before jumping on the webinar today, I was just meeting with our team. Basically, we have a team that's focused on our very, very top of funnel brand marketing, like the big splashy stuff that's just huge investments, lots of time, all of that good stuff. And essentially, those campaigns, some of them are just about Yotpo in general, and then some of them are about specific products. Some of those specific products are also the ones that we're trying to either net new sell or cross sell within the ABM cohort. And we're analyzing from these really nice campaigns, these really well done professional campaigns that they spend a lot of time and effort. I, over the past couple of days, have been analyzing, all right, cool, from like this tight cohort that I have, who are the accounts that are actually digging into this stuff, that are curious about it, that are learning from us or interested in it. Like that to me is a leading indicator that they are thinking about how they can improve or are hungry for more information that we may be able to serve them. So taking that early intent signal and now building out appropriate journeys within ABM, like again, that whole campaign was one to literally the entire universe, or at least the Yotpo universe as far as we could reach, and seeing how it started to land with our group, and then building out more customized journeys based off of that initial intent is something that we want to refine our focus, because again, we want to continue to help educate and give value at every single touch point and not hit them with stuff that's really not relevant at the time or they're not really in the appetite for. So that's something that we're working on over here as well, which Influ2 will be obviously playing a part in as well once we have an established okay, this is what we want to do for this nice really tight group here. This is what we're going to design, and we'll definitely be using the platform to get at to them.
And Kevin, just a quick question, because I just want to say for the audience, how do you guys work with your sales, with your SDRs? Because when you're using person-based ads, you know, showing the ad to the person is great, right? You know that you've served the ad to the exact person, but you also get this whole other level of value when you get the notification when the person had the impression, when they had the click, when they did the visit. And that's something really important, because we don't want to use person-based ads for people to fill out forms, because, you know, that's inbound. This is an outbound tool, honestly. And yeah, so I wanted to ask you guys, how do you do that?
Yeah, and I think everyone that's here would agree that it's always an evolving process. The handshake between marketing, sales, and even other components within the organization. For us, partners plays a huge role. CS obviously plays a huge role. Like there's so many contributing teams, but to answer your question, we're trying to improve that every single month, every single quarter, every single year. But the way that the way we did last year was pretty straightforward. There was really no true visibility and handshake from our sales side, like what we kind of consider our revenue or go-to-market teams, to the actual marketing organization and what was being distributed and how that was making an impact on their accounts. So one of the first things I did last year as we first started ABM was building that bridge. So giving them visibility first to the SDRs and the salespeople. hey, these are the campaigns that are going to be running to this particular audience. These are the folks that it's going to be going to. These are the creatives. Like, this is the purpose. This is the landing page. This is what it looks like. So this is what is coming, and you should be receiving intent signals off of. So go ahead and prepare drafts and follow-ups and things that are easy for you to quickly personalize and follow up on that early intent signal. So the first thing we did was just create that visibility, give them the awareness, get them prepared to be able to personalize and outreach at scale. And once they got those intent signals, they would take a look at it, do a little bit of homework on the back end, and then ultimately identify how they were going to make that next step to follow up with that particular person and that particular account. Our team shared with us, and so, by the way, like, we weren't really sure and we weren't convinced on impressions being a good threshold to make an outreach. So we were focused on the higher intent signal being a click through, and we were producing enough of those to like kind of help our team. And they said to me and our group, like, what it definitely helped them do was, number one, prioritize their time, actually spend time investing on accounts that have been showing some level of heat. Number two is knowing what to actually talk about to help increase their response rate. So we saw that we were able to, through like that just general framework improvement, make an incremental difference on their response rate and then the SAL creation from those accounts. Now we're trying to get a little bit better, and we're starting to use your journey capabilities, where it's like a storyboard of, let's take them on a journey that tells the story through ads, and start supplementing that journey. If they get to 20 impressions, 40 impressions on certain different creatives, having that be an additional trigger to put a soft outreach to give them some sort of value add. So, hypothetically, they're getting information about product X, they've gotten a ton of impressions about it, that triggers it to go to the top of their priority list. Cool. Now's probably a good time to send them some other value offering in an outreach email that ties to that particular creative, and see how that does, not just relying only on the click-throughs and the website visits. So that's how we're trying to get more sophisticated now. The team is in the habit of prioritizing Influ2 notifications, because we've seen that it definitely does. It does help. We just want to get better about making that conversion rate even more crystal clear.
Yeah, you mentioned that you guys you're starting to use journeys, right? You haven't used them before?
We tested it not in the best way last year. We actually, kind of to the question I think someone had earlier, we did for 5 specific accounts, only to those accounts completely one-to-one creatives that were on the journeys, which was like really interesting to see live. But now we're moving into a more one-to-few and one-to-many approach, using the journeys to see how we can test and iterate and improve off of that.
Because the way, because when that feature was introduced, our department, because my department, we basically use Influ2, almost only Influ2 to promote ourselves. And of course, we had to be the first ones to build the journeys. And the way we approached it is we divided our audience into personas. And basically what we did is, for each persona, we would create a narrative of creatives that would the best explain what Influ2 is, what it does, and what are the main values. And we've separated, like, we've created different content for different personas. For instance, to marketing leadership, we would be showing more top of, higher level stuff, like, it helps you align, it helps you report on revenue and pipeline influence. And for the lower positions, we would talk more about how easy it is, the automation part, how it takes a lot of manual work from you. And then the ops, again, we would show them more of like the product part. And we also had campaigns for SDRs and sales, which was tricky because it's not a product that is going from their budget, right? They're just getting the benefit and the marketer is doing the jobs. So yeah, it was more like, tell your marketers about Influ2 because you will really benefit from it. And this is like a very easy explanation of how it works, because we know you don't care, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, so we did those narratives, and I've tried out a bunch of ways. I tried moving them after getting, after clicking, and then I tried moving them based on the time that they've spent on a certain creative, and impressions as well. And I don't know. Right now, I keep it at time. I keep it at time because that's just, I have a lot of content to manage, but impressions or like a mixture of signals is definitely something that I want to try out.
Yeah, we have it set right now. I think it's actually going to go live next week, so I'll be able to report back to you on how it goes. It's more of a general awareness campaign that we're going to be running for one of the target products. Like we took our ABM cohort and using some of the analysis that I just talked about, prioritizing accounts for this particular target product based off of like kind of what we see as their interest and also what we know is our best fit to be able to offer to them. And we have new positioning for that particular product. So we're trying to get overall awareness and just test out this journey to see like, hey, like how does our team react to triggers off of time or impressions? We have it set for impressions. So we have it set for impressions and clicks right now. And we're going to see like how that works, but I definitely want to get it to the point where it's more sophisticated on, all right, cool. Now that the awareness is there, how do we dice it down even further and give the people exactly what they need from us for that solution?
Quick question. Kevin, you mentioned one-to-one ads and personalization in all of this. With Influ2 being able to get really granular in terms of contact level targeting, you can position or you can push ads straight to the buying group members. Have either of you used one-to-one style ads where it's, hyper personalized creative for that one specific company, goes to content that's personalized for that one specific company as well?
Kevin, if you want, you can go first.
I was just about to say the work that like our conversations leading into doing this session today has given me like more. It's always been something I've wanted to get to, and we hadn't quite gotten to over the first year of like setting ABM fundamentals. But as we've been talking about this session together, like it really has motivated and inspired me to push for like that next level. And we are in the process right now of, for a select group to test it, building out specific one-to-one approaches, like using logos and images of their CSM and strategic account executive that's associated with the account, and building that, because again, we have a lot of cross-sell opportunities where we're really pigeonholed with one particular group within the organization. We know we need to expand. We want to use this like personalized approach to help that, like our POCs on our side, help expand within the account as well.
I can say that I've done one-to-ones, and what I want to say is that it's really important that you understand the amount of work that it's gonna take. That's one. And then it's very like, I think what crucial is selecting the right accounts. Because if you just randomly get, that was my first idea. I was thinking, I'm gonna take the best accounts that I want to sell to. I'm gonna put a lot of work into it and they are going to buy. No, they will not. Honestly, you have to look for signals. You have to look for like new hire signals, especially, hiring new leadership, because they are then swiping away everything and getting new stuff in. Investment, but well, they will be hit with a lot of products when they get investment around. So yeah, really getting those intent signals and making sure that there is a certain level of intent there will definitely define your success rate. I think it will definitely influence.
I think you brought up some important things right there that were definitely learnings for me as a first year ABMer. And it's, what I can see and think or have prioritized from our top brass at Yotpo isn't necessarily the best place to spend the time. It's a buy-in across like the tech, obviously the technology tools that you have to be able to pick up on those intent signals, And then I've been leaning much more over the past quarter, leaning into the sales folks and the CSMs to be like, who from your experience, from what you can just feel, and you like, you're professionals, right? Like you're on our top teams, like what do you sense as like the ones that we should be prioritizing? And getting that input has been good because number one, to your point, like they're probably the ones that are in best position. And then also number two is that they are definitely going to get the appropriate follow-up because those reps are equally as committed to seeing that go through the hoop. When you're just picking other ones, they're not necessarily as focused. So that alignment has been really, really important as of late for us.
Amazing. I know we're just at time here, but want to make sure that we get any last minute questions answered. And we had one come through about Influ2, and they were asking, can you chat a bit more about how Influ2 works? And I think one of the really interesting pieces here is the contact level targeting. What's the big differentiation between a 6sense demand-based level targeting versus actually using the Influ2 and why you'd purchase that in complement?
Yeah, so with Influ2, you get the level of precision where you can target an exact person at the account. We don't use IP, we don't use cookies. And that means when you're doing account-based targeting, you're targeting a location, basically. So you're targeting people who are going to their office. But with Influ2, you are targeting the exact person. Again, when we're saying you're targeting the exact person, you have to know who you want to target first, rather than you're targeting a whole bunch of people and that de-anonymize them, then de-anonymize those who've seen your ads. And the way we do it, well, it's an algorithm, and I've prepped for this. I was thinking maybe someone will ask this, and it's a tough question for me. So what we do, we collaborate with first-party ad platforms that serve ads to individuals, and this is like an exclusive partnership with us, and users voluntarily provide their personal information to the platforms and opt in to see ads upon signing up. So basically, whenever you sign up for something and you give your consent, you share your information. So the platforms then know that they can serve ads to you personally and then report back to us. And we also have like an algorithm that determines who clicked on the ad and who engaged with the ad specifically. So that's like, if it really like generic explanation, but if someone wants to learn more, I'm really happy to share the information in depth, explaining how this works.
And then just to help you out a little bit, as far as our side, it's how we use it on a day-to-day is quite straightforward. We basically are able to push either from Salesforce or HubSpot a list of who we want to target. We segment them up, push them over like with their actual CRM information, and then Influ2 goes out and matches it for us. So for us, that's super helpful. We're able to just upload that list, creatives that we want to go to them, and then the platform goes out and matches up to the best of its ability and serves them up.
Then we had another question as a follow-up. Is it possible that the ad would get served to the wrong person?
No, never happened. Never happened. So, but again, what I'm curious, like, what would be on that ad that it would be so bad that it could serve to the other person? But no, that actually never happened. And some things that we do, you know, when people get skeptical and we have prospects and they would be like, I have to sell this to the team, right? I have to sell this to the team. So they give us their own images, their pictures, and we put their pictures on the ad and we target just their team with a personalized message. And for instance, like a link to their Slack channel. And then the team is then all targeted with the ad and they're like, hey, I've seen it. Okay, I'm sold. So you can actually test it out basically in the buying process if you want.
That's really cool. I like that. That would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anna, Kevin, thank you so much for joining. This was awesome. Thank you all for attending, and we're psyched to see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks for organizing, Davis.
See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.